G'day guys, thought I'd do a little tutorial for you on how to use an external plugin, something like iTween in this example anyway, with Nottorus visual scripting plugin. So for my basic setup, all I've done is created just a plane and a cube, a basic scene. I've already imported Nottorus and I've imported iTween, so we're ready to go with the scripting side of things. So we'll open up the script editor, create a new script. It's going to be a mono behavior, so create the script. I like to create a new folder and call them Nottorus scripts, and we'll call this one spin cube. Okay, so here we have our basic start and update functions. I don't need them both, I only need one function, so I'm going to delete one. Now, initially you won't be able to delete it until you've actually selected. Then again, this section shows up. So now I can delete that one, and I'll rename this one to on mouse over. So what we're doing is just interacting with the cube with our mouse and make it spin around when we mouse over it. Okay, so we'll just save that quickly. Always make sure that you get your little save and compile pop up, otherwise you can lose some of your work. Alright, so let's start with the basic iTween rotation. So what we're going to do is, on our mouse over, we want to rotate it, so rotate by. Now initially you won't get any of the iTween functions show up, functions all, so what you have to do is enable C# first pass, and then they will show up. So there's iTween rotate by. That's what we want to do. The target will be our game object. Just link that up. For the amounts, we can just create a new vector just for this initial demonstration. That's all we need. So a little bit of rotation for a few seconds, and that is ready to go. All we need to do is put that on our cube and we should start rotating. So there's our cube, there's our script. Just make sure that did save. Yes, it did. So now when we play, we should get rotation when we mouse over. Now, a much better way to use iTween is obviously to use the hash tables, so you get much more control over the rotation and what you want to do in your animation. So what we'll be doing is adding hash tables and using the mouse to actually spin it the direction that we want to spin it. So going to the iTween instructions or documentation, the hash table elements that we want to use are X, Y, space and time. So the X and Y's will be floats, just so we know which direction to spin. Space will be a string, just so we know that we want to turn in world space and not local. And the time will be another float for the time that we want to spin for. So let's get that ready. So I'll go back to the script editor. Our game object is still attached to that. Now we're going to change it over to the hash table version of the rotate by function. We want to create the hash table, so what we can do is just right click on that, and we want a script level hash table because we don't want to create it every time on mouse over is called. So script variable, we'll call it tween hash table. We want to create a new hash table at the start of the program, and that's all we need for that. So that is our hash table variable. You can see here it's automatically assigned it to a hash table there. Oops. Sorry, bring that back. So it's automatically assigned a hash table, and it's automatically linked it up for us. So now with our hash table, the first thing we want to do is every time we mouse over, we want to clear the hash table because we want to clear the old data. So just right click on there, type hash table to get our hash table functions or methods. The first thing I'll do is clear it. So that's the hash table we want to clear. So now the first step is clear, and now we want to add each element, that being the X, Y, space and time. So what is, right click again, go hash table, add. Again, this is our hash table. The key is the string to decide what we want to affect. So we build a string builder. Assign that to that. The first one is just the x-axis. The value we're going to get from our mouse input. So type get axes, input get axes. That result goes in there, and the axis we want is the mouse Y, not the mouse X. So we want, when we're moving up and down, our mouse Y, we want to spin the x-axis. So that will control that spin. Alright, so now we can just copy and paste these. So Control C, Control V, and there you have a copy. I might just save quickly. So this will be the y-axis is controlled by mouse X. It'll be the same hash table. So that's done. Control V again. This time the same hash table again. This time we want to control the time. This one will be a float. There's no way at the moment to add a float using at a fixed value, I'm hoping that gets fixed. So for now we have to create a variable, so I'll just create another script variable so that we don't again assign it every time we call this function. So the script variable we'll just call tween time. It will be a float, and we'll assign it to 5 seconds again. So there we go, there's our time is now added as an element, and the last one is the space. What space do we want to spin in, local or world? So we will paste again, same hash table. We don't need the axis again, this time we'll be using another string, so we'll just copy and paste that. In there, it will be the space, and we want world space because the mouse is moving around in world space, so we want to spin the cube in world space. Alright, so that is all the elements we need for our rotate by function. So now we just go down through each stage, and that will create our hash table, and then we can spin it. So save that, compile it, and all going to plan. When we mouse over, it should now, the cube should move according to what we've done with the mouse. So close that, play, and there we go. Now the x-axis is reversed, but the y-axis is correct. So what we need to do is just put a little negative value on that x-axis. So we'll go in there and do that now. Tools, So the mouse x value needs to be reversed. So all we do is add a data unary operation. And that reverses our x-axis. Compile it again. Hit play. And there you have it. Our little cube is now controlled by the mouse pointer. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Hope I helped you a little bit in using Nottorus, which is looking like an awesome plugin. And yeah, thanks for watching.